Hey everybody, Mac Tomaso here, back with Diablo 3, and this time we got patch 2.02, and we got the Barbarian. And we're going to be doing an old build, the Dreadnaught build. Still very feasible. Actually, it's probably one of the more feasible builds out there. A lot of people were talking about they're having difficulty with the new game settings. So let me go into the game here and show you what I'm talking about. The biggest change here is no longer is there monster power. There's basically normal, hard, expert, and master, and then we go into Torment. And Torment has this little slider here which goes 1 through 6. And 6 is pretty insanely difficult. And 3, people are saying, are basically equivalent to Monster Power 7. And 4, I guess, is a little bit tougher than Monster Power 10. I didn't really feel that way because I was able to do Monster Power 4. There definitely seems to be monsters with affixes designed to stop certain builds. So it seems to promote grouping. So if you have one of those builds where you hit a pack where that pack is designed to stop you, another player could probably deal with that pack pretty efficiently. I'm going to stay on Torment 3 for the video's sake. But under game settings, that's where you go to change it, change difficulty levels. You can change your game settings and all such things like that. And let's go into the game. So there's definitely a lot of changes. First off, there's going to be changes to the way Fury is generated, which is kind of a real strange change for them to make, probably causing a lot of people trouble with their barbarians. If you noticed, I am generating Fury. It's at an alarmingly slow rate, but that is because, there we go, of my Immortal King set. I have the 5-piece, which increases Fury generation by 2. It doesn't do it properly, but it does do it. So I no longer lose Fury, I gain Fury because of this. Very nice bonus, 60 to resist all, actually, 4% less damage from melee sources, and plus 5 maximum Fury. It's was pretty easy set to accomplish very cheaply, with a very high toughness rating, as you can see here. There's some new stats here. You got damage rating, which isn't so high, even though I got this phenomenal score, and I thought this was really good. Maybe it's only mediocre. But a really high toughness factor, and I'm thinking that's a good healing factor. I do not know. These are all new stats to me. But I do know I get a very good armor rating, 67% of damage being reduced from all sources. And then I have a really good resist all, almost 70% damage being reduced again. So that's where my survivability is coming in. So the game really hasn't changed in that depth. If you followed any of my other guides where I sat there and told you, you got to get your armor up there, you got to get your resistance up there, and you got to get your hit points up there, that's all true today. If you're not doing that, then that's where you're probably hitting problems. They've increased the damage of skills across the board, which is very nice. And they added a new Paragon system. Most of my guys are pretty high Paragon levels, so I benefit from that. And this is the new Paragon system where you have core stats, offensive stats, defensive stats, and utility stats. I'm going to go over that more in a moment once I go over the build. And the way the build works is because of the change to Fury generation. Basically now, Fury is generated when using Fury generating skills or taking damage. So the more damage you take, the more Fury you gain. Well, if you want to gain Fury that way, you better have some hit points, and you better be able to mitigate some of the damage coming in so you can do it. It's kind of a strange way of getting it. So for this build, we are still using Whirlwind. However, we're using Wind Shear because we gain 1 Fury for every enemy struck. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it's enough to really kind of deliver and keep us going. That's what we want to do. And it's very important. It pays out. And we're backing up with Hammer of the Ancients. We're going to use this on single targets. And we are going to use this on single targets because it does massive amounts of damage and it has a high critical hit chance, because every 5 fury we have, we gain an extra 1% crit chance with this skill. So that's highly powerful boss killer, single target. Even though they changed Smash and removed the reduced area size, which is very nice for dealing with packs that group up nicely for us. Basically, the goal is to whirlwind around and maintain Fury at a high level, and then once we're up there, we can drop a hammer or two, and then go back to Whirlwind to maintain our Fury to drop a hammer or two. So we're always trying to maintain at least a third to half our Fury so we can go back to Whirlwinding and maintain it. And part of our damage outcomes coming through Battle Rage into the Fray, which gives us extra critical hit chances for each enemy within 10 yards. Now that critical hits aren't returning, because if you noticed a big thing there, Enter a Rage, which increases our damage by 10% and critical hit chance by 3%, lasts 120 seconds. We're no longer have an ability to gain Fury through crits. We could change that around. We can go to Bloodshed if we want. We don't need that extra crit chance anymore. So if we want to do some extra damage, we can do that and get some pretty big hits off of our Hammer of the Ancients. Although Warcry, they changed our impunity, and oh no, Warcry they haven't changed. It gives us 20% increased armor, and with impunity we're getting 20% increased resist all. That's massive. That's getting us up there. That's so awesome. Overpower with Crushing Advance. That's redirecting 35% of incoming melee damage back to the attacker for 5 seconds after we activate it. We could use any one of the others that we want to do. We can increase the damage of Overpower to double. We could generate 5 Fury for each enemy hit by Overpower. Very strong possibility. Because one thing that does happen with critical hits is it does reduce our cooldown of Overpower by 1 second. So we can definitely get Overpower active pretty quick. And if we're maintaining an ability to get 5 Fury for each enemy hit, that's a very strong candidate right there. So we'll throw Momentum in there. We're changing around our old Dreadnaught to make it more functioning for our Fury generation. Make sure we always have Fury now, because crits don't do Fury. However, with Momentum, crits now give us Fury again. Very impossible. So that's something to keep in mind too with Bloodshed. Do we go back to Into the Fray? I think we do, because we're going to be using that with Whirlwind, and we'll have lots of enemies around with Into the Fray to pay off that 1% critical hit chance for each enemy within 10 yards under the effect of Battle Rage, as opposed to getting some extra damage. Even on a crit with Hammer of the Ancients, it's only 300,000 damage with that Bloodshed, so it's not enough. Sprint, Run Like the Wind stays. That's a lot of little tornadoes to give us lots of little crits to knock down that momentum to get that 5 Fury back when we want it. Very powerful. However, our passives completely reworked. If you look at Weapon Master now, it's nowhere near as good as it once was. Maces and Axes only give us 5% crit now. Swords and Daggers give you 8% damage. Polearms only give you 8% attack speed, and Mighty Weapons only give you 1 Fury. This has been nerfed to all nothingness. Bloodthirst looks like nothing, but is actually quite amazing. It's probably going to be a standard for Barbarians. It really should be thought of, always considered. You're going to be burning Fury like mad anyways, and you get 116 life for every point of Fury that you spend. So for Whirlwind here, which spends 10 Fury a second, that's 1,000 life a second you're getting. just for that. And then sprint, every 3 seconds you click it, that's 2,000. Battle Rage, you don't really click. Hammer of the Ancients, 20 Fury, that's another 2,000 life you're getting. So there's a lot of life income coming from Bloodthirst. Something to strongly consider. For this build, I put it on. Animosity, because it's increasing our Fury generation by 10%, increasing our maximum Fury by 20. Very strong. And Superstition. Why Superstition? Not only does it reduce all non-physical damage by 20%, which is awesome because there's lots of elemental damage out there, but when you take damage from a ranged or elemental attack, you have a chance to gain 2 Fury. Now, instead of just generating a Fury from just regular damage, we get extra Fury when we hit by ranged or elemental attacks. And we're also taking a lot less damage from non-physical attacks. This is just, it's an awesome defensive passive. Once we get to a 4th, probably Relentless is one of the most powerful things that we could take. It's definitely something to consider now, because if we ever do get hit to below 35% in life, an extra 50% damage reduction is awesome, and 75% less Fury is awesome as well. Something to consider, but it's kind of hard to work because these are our primary power users. You would supplement that with Bloodthirst instead. Really depending on where your life steal is and everything, and how often you do go below 35% life. You're not going to be able to maintain perma Wrath. That's basically been stated as gone. If you found a way, that's great. But a lot of people haven't been able to find that way, so maybe go to the forums and post it. And then passives, I went with Vitality and Maximum Fury. I basically brought my Fury up to a point where it would sit at 150, divisible by 5 for Hammer of the Ancients, so that's a 30% bonus to my critical hit chance. And Vitality, so I get enough life. Offensively, I threw it all into crit because we need crit. Cooldown, not a bad place to put down either. I threw, for defense, everything into life. I got such a high armor in resist all already. Even though this is good places to put it, if you're missing it, this is a place to go. But I already had a high layer and a little bit low in life, so I went to life again. And resource cost reduction, so I don't spend so much Fury. And that's where I went. If you're missing life income, you would go here, life on hit. A very nice add-on right here. Very strong. And they changed everything and how it works with like Nephilim Valor and all that, so that's not really there. Don't need to farm for it. Not sure why I dipped. I got all my settings to low. So as you can see, my Fury is maintaining at full. I'm dealing with a pack here, so I'll hammer him a little bit. This is Torment 3. I can take charge here. Things getting a little crazy. I hit my sprint. Get out of the craziness. And whenever I hit my sprint, I'd be sure to hit my whirlwind. You can see all the resist alls paying off, all the armor's paying off, all the passives are paying off. I can sustain myself through all this with no problem. Even a low frame rate. I would adjust the frame rate, but the last time I tried that, in the previous video, it did not work. See how I ran out? I don't ever want to do that. So that's what happens when you don't pay attention. But it doesn't matter. I have War Cry, so if you find yourself running out, you hit your War Cry. That's good for 20 Fury. And that'll get you up to the point where you can at least hit your Whirlwind, and that will get you more than enough, especially with the Overpower. And the Overpower comes back again, and then you're more than set. So that's what you do when you make a mistake. So one thing I'm pretty sure in this patch, there's definitely some memory leaks. So I started this with 60 frames a second. Oops, yeah, not enough life. I got enough resistance so I can run through the poison patches. So that wasn't possible before. You notice you don't get Nephilim Valor stacks anymore either, so you can just find the Key Warden. Oh, Barbarian level. One offensive point. Oops. You notice I reset all my buffs when there's a ton of things around. So I know I'll have all my fury generated for that. I don't think that actually was a legendary, but it was orange. Legendary crafting material. That's new. Oh, no warning. Usually he's on the outside. There he is. I don't know what's going on there. Ah. There we go. My mouse must be dying because I'm hitting the button and it keeps stopping me. Or something's going on with this guy here. There he goes. Oh, and a key. I think he always drops a key now. I've gotten a key every time. He was a little bit tougher. 15 frames a second sucks. Like I said, this started off at 60. But you get it. If you basically maintain your cool, stay around some mobs, you always have something to tap in for fury and health. The lifesteal off of Hammer of the Ancients is phenomenal. It's a full heal every time you swing it, which is why it's awesome. And attack speed is a killer because attack speed burns off fury faster. The slower you attack, the harder you hit with crit and your regular damage, and the less fury you actually spend, which is how it kind of works, which is why this build is based off of crit and strength opposed to attack speed, and how it functions so well. Even in those tight spots at 15 frames a second, mind you, with some lag, you know, I dealt with all that hard times. Without all this stuff running, the video recording system, and this kind of poorly patched patch, there's something going on, because I normally run much better with recording everything at full. You know, it's much easier when you're not lagging and you're not hitting 5 frames a second on some stuff. So that's the build. It's very strong, very durable, very survivable. Like I said, I can do MP4, or I should say Torment 4, without too much trouble. Some packs will kill me because they do that where they stop you, and then for some reason Whirlwind, once you get chained and you hit Whirlwind to start, it stops you and starts you and stops you. There's something weird. You have to stop for a second and just run around in a circle and then get it moving again, which is annoying. So I hope it helps. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll talk to everybody later.